Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge is an up to 6-player online co-op beat-em-up inspired by the late 80s, 90s cartoon and the TMNT beat-em-up games that have come out over the years, like TMNT Arcade on the NES or Turtles in Time on the Super Nintendo for the consoles, along with the arcade game Cabinet. It is published by Dotemu. These are the same guys that published the new Streets of Rage game recently, with a good pedigree for beat-em-ups. It is on every current platform and is available on Game Pass on both PC and the Xbox consoles. It's strictly only co-op, or single player, but really why would you? Beat 'em up brawler, and it has everything. 6-player online combo co-op with public matchmaking, cross-platform, across consoles and PC. It is easy to join or otherwise host an online lobby, provided you have a decent internet connection. Combo co-op means you can have 2 or more people play locally while easily jumping into a game online, or starting a game locally, waiting for randoms just to join you. Whether hosting or joining, it ran very well for me, even with a full lobby. There was a glitch when the game released within the first week where the beginning of a level would sometimes have the player characters frozen out of the game, but this was quickly patched and then I never ran into it again. They've since released other minor patches, but this was the only game-breaking one that I found. On the surface, it may look like a simple beat-em-up, but there is some depth to Shredder's Revenge beyond just knowing a handful of attack moves. You do have those attack moves that you'll recognize from the consoles and the arcade cabinet, but also a few special moves for each character that are also a little bit different from each of the 7 available characters. Looking at the strength of the special moves in particular that you've probably heard of on online forums from some gamers, or from just looking at the gameplay right now on the screen, it looks like it would break the gameplay. You could just spam it. And you can indeed spam these, especially on the easy difficulty, and most especially in the story mode where they can be leveled up and then you're even stacking them up several times, where you can just use the special moves exclusively if you want. However, inversely, when you play in the limited continues, limited lives arcade mode on the hardest difficulty, there isn't enough time to easily charge up the special attacks, where you need to rely on the alternative way of doing it by damaging enemies, and this gradually charges up your meter for a single special attack. And you just get one of these at a time, along with like just 3 lives. Good part here is that if you're not just looking to play through it once and looking for a real challenge, you have it in the arcade mode playing on hard mode. The negative with the difficulty setting, and it's a really odd oversight, is that when you're joining a game, you can't see what difficulty the game is that you are joining. And since you always start from the beginning in the arcade mode, you have to go all the way through, and just to get a full lobby, as you can imagine, this never really happens. And it's the same type of a thing if you are hosting a game. They can't see that you're playing a hard mode in arcade, so they have to just blindly join a bunch of matches and hope that just telling from the gameplay, if everybody's struggling and getting knocked out all the time, like, oh, this is in hard mode, because hard and normal, you both have those 3 lives, so you can only tell by the difficulty. So hopefully they patch this, simply showing what the difficulty of the game that you're joining is for online matchmaking. While in the arcade mode, you just go through the levels with limited lives and continues, there is a pretty basic story mode with an overworld map that is an homage to the cartoon, where you collect things across the levels that you then return to these characters familiar to the show. Again, it's pretty basic and a one-and-done mode once you've collected everything, and it's mainly for people that watched the original cartoon back in the late 80s and 90s. Even at the higher price tag of $25, hovering in the indie game length space of 2.5 hours in game length, if you're a fan of beat-em-ups and looking for a challenge, this is a buy. Also, if you really just want a game that you can easily jump into and play with not only 4 but up to 6 players, this is some of the best that there is out there. For everybody else that doesn't care about the cartoon or beat 'em ups, this is still a no-brainer on Game Pass, which you can get on PC or the Xbox consoles. You'll still have fun, at least playing through the main campaign of 2.5 hours. It's probably not as deep as the new Streets of Rage game, but that was only 2-player online with randoms, while the arcade mode with the hard difficulty and the 6-player online with random matchmaking, combo co-op is exactly what you want, giving that feeling really of playing at an arcade cabinet with people jumping in and out of lobbies. If they do patch in the difficulty setting for online multiplayer, please let us all know in the comments below. And if you like this video, please give a like. Really liked it, consider subscribing, and I will see you next time. Cowabunga!